Welcome again to another episode of The Road Ahead Senior Living. I'm Jacqueline Proctor, Deputy Commissioner at the Bureau of Senior Services for the state of West Virginia. We hope you're all well. Today, we're going to discuss the Senior Network, the Aging Network, as it's also referred to. And with me, I have two great guests that I can't wait to introduce you to. We have Katie Hudak, who is the Director of Region 1 for our state. We'll explain the regional thing more in a minute. And we have Gary Rexrod, who is the Executive Director of Braxton County Senior Citizens Center. Welcome both.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
Yeah. So let's just start off real easy. Tell me what you do, Katie, and why it's important. Just give me a top headline.
So I'm the director of the Northwestern Area Agency on Aging, and we are a liaison or a middleman with the West Virginia Bureau of Senior Services, and our funding is passed through our agency, federal and state funding, and then it is passed down to our 19 service providers in Region 1.
So you have 19 centers in your area.
19 centers.
I won't even ask you to name them all, but I bet you can.
And there's 4 regions. So there's Metro, which is Region 2, Potomac, which is Region 3, and Appalachian, which is Region 4.
So would you say that the 4 regions work in concert to help work with the senior centers to provide the programming that is needed in those communities?
Yes. So we're mainly a funding source to the service providers, which are mainly senior centers. And we ensure compliance with the Older Americans Act Title III programs, and we advocate for senior rights. We contract with legal aids, senior legal aid, to provide services, and we fund a lot of programs, a nutrition program, transportation program, homemaker, in-home services, and caregiver support. We issue funding through, like I said, the federal and state funding sources, and we try everything we can to support the seniors.
That's a lot, and that's fabulous. And you know, West Virginia Senior Legal Aid is near and dear to my heart because I act as liaison for the Bureau for the legal services developers, which is also an aspect of the Older Americans Act. So, of course, it appears to me, as you've explained, you have a lot of rules to follow, documentation to track, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Gary.
Yes.
So happy that you're here.
I'm tickled to be here.
Tell me a little bit, top headline, what you do at the center.
Well, I start out in the morning, take the trash out. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, I took
Whatever needs to be done.
whatever needs to be done. There's a lot of different things that we're involved in. We, of course, I've only been the director since May of 23, but I've been at the senior center since 18.
What did you do in your former capacity?
Well, I owned my own business. I was in the automobile business, which was a whole different industry compared to what I'm into now. But the beauty of that is I stepped out of that industry to go to work at the senior center, which were clients, which I had sold automobiles to, worked on their vehicles. So it's like going from one family to another. So it was it wasn't quite the transition, but it's a whole different view because here it's about automobiles, here it's about people. And I mean, I just can't put into words what the people mean, especially our seniors to the county of Braxton. But that being said, when you talk about it every day, you know, you're in the trenches, and it's only because I have the staff that I have that makes things so easy. We have, and I put our staff, and I know any director out there would say this, but I put our staff up against anybody's. They have the heart, the compassion. They love the seniors, and it's just the little things, because sometimes it's just a listening ear that goes so far for our seniors.
Let me ask you a question. So Katie does all the sort of regulatory funding work necessary for you, the providers, as we also refer to senior centers. Explain from your position how critically important that is, the work that she does.
Oh, very much so, because they're in a position where they keep us in compliance, so to say, because they can tell us how much, what for, how come, you know. And because when you're down there at the senior center, you're busy. You're doing a lot of different things, pulling a lot of different directions.
Right.
And they work hand in hand, especially with our fiscal office, about where funds can come from, opportunities, because it's through what they do that we have the opportunities to provide what we provide.
Yeah.
So they're a big boost for us.
I see you nodding your head a lot, Katie. Tell me how happy are you to hear that explanation about what you do?
Very happy. That's what we do every day. We collect data. We ensure compliance with the centers. And when we find things that are out of balance, we go in and provide technical assistance to the administration and make sure that the funding is utilized properly, and so they can provide all kinds of services for the seniors.
I think that must hopefully give you a good, warm, even fuzzy feeling to know that the work that you do really does translate into what Gary does on a day-to-day basis. So, Gary, can you tell us or share with the audience some of your favorite things about the center and what you do? You don't have to go through all of them because we got time here, but just a couple.
Oh, the favorite things. I mean, no one likes the administration part as far as the paperwork and, monitoring and looking over staff and stuff like that, which, very fortunate. I don't have a lot of problems. But my favorite things is probably the interaction with the seniors, because, and I try to make it intentional to be involved. I mean, because when I went to the center in 2018, I came in as a volunteer, and then I went to a floater, and then I've just kind of advanced my way up. And that being said, I've had the opportunity to drive. I do personal shopping. I've took medical runs all the way up through to what we do now, and we do recreational trips. And I've had, and I think back of one of the trips we took, and I had the opportunity to be with a senior with her first time to ever be on an escalator. And I'm just telling you that.
Wow.
Oh, and it was, I'd love to have filmed it. It was where you can't put into words the emotion they felt, because you take it for granted that the opportunity is there for everybody.
Right.
But you have a lot of seniors out there I have seniors that's never left the county, and you think, really? But we have. And then they, as they get fragile and they get up into their older years and they're homebound, it's just that interaction. So to put in a favor, I've done all the home deliver meal, places that we go.
Okay.
So I've had the interaction with that. And you just don't know how warming it is to walk into somebody's, open the door, bring them a meal. And it's not so much the meal as it is the person.
It's the person.
And it just touches your heart. It really does. Yeah.
We've mentioned many times on the series, on the show, that that personal touch, that one-on-one connection, whether it's through a driver who's delivering meals on a weekly basis or every couple of days basis, or that face-to-face you have at the center, is so critically important, because congregation, getting together, socializing, fellowshipping is what drives it all, and it's a great feeling for the seniors. When you hear Gary talk about things like that, Katie, how did you think about how your numbers translate into all this goodness?
Yeah, so with the wellness checks for the drivers to go, that's a requirement of the program. And so a lot of these things, we ensure that the drivers are checking in on the seniors, even though they don't know it's a requirement, it is. And so a lot of what they do is a condition of the grant, but it overall gives the seniors checking in on their well-being.
Right.
And that's our main goal, is to make sure they live independently at home.
Perfect magic sentence that we as a bureau, you as our liaison person with your 19 senior centers, Gary directly, boots on the ground. Ultimately, all our goals are to help a senior age in place. And it must be, or like I would hope that it would be, very satisfying to know that all the data and all the tracking and all the numbers that you have to crunch through on a daily, weekly, monthly basis translates into that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that is how we ensure funding, is through the data that we collect, making sure that the trends are going up or down, making sure that we're staying in compliance. But we also have, formulas throughout the state that determine funding through population size, rurality of each county. Each county is different. The poverty, the minority level, all of those factors go into the funding amounts per county. And so not only that, but performance as well. So there are a lot of factors that go into everything that gives enough money for each county senior center to provide services to their seniors.
And I would think, too, that you would periodically have to meet up with your centers individually or collectively and maybe review any of the data, the needs, the requirements, or any changes that may occur.
Yeah, so we are required to do monitoring sessions, which is basically a programmatic and fiscal audit. We go in, look at the numbers, verify the units. We go in and look at the documentation to see if the client assessments are up to date. That is when we go and identify certain issues, and we do everything we can, the technical assistance, to help them out.
That's bravo. It might be a little dry for some, but
Yeah.
it's great.
It's exciting for me.
Yes. Well, so
It's
you're
so
the
much
perfect
fun.
person. You're the perfect person for that job. So getting back to the centers and what you all do with the funding that is provided, talk to me a little bit about, and we've hit this subject before, but from your perspective, the congregation, the meals, the lunches when they come in. Do the seniors come in independently? Do they come in by bus? How do they get to you?
Okay, for the most part, well, of course, COVID had an effect on a lot of people. You know, it changed the dynamics of the way we do things. But for the most part right now, we do have a couple of days that we bring seniors in, but most of them drive in, you know, or dropped off by their caregiver or something like that. They can, and leaves them there during lunch. So we serve lunch like 11 to 12:30. But we have so many different things that go on through the morning and the afternoon. We have card players pretty much every day till 4 o'clock. We have a bingo day. We have a donation day, which we're very fortunate, very blessed to have the donation day. Mountaineer Food Bank does a great job of being able to help us out in that situation. And we have that on Mondays.
So the donation day is, so that's where private entities or food banks, as you said, drop off food substance for the seniors who are there? How does that work?
Okay, the way that works is the food bank collects all the donations, and then we go to the food bank and bring them to the center. Then we distribute them accordingly. We put them out on tables, and I'll tell you how we do it. I get the microphone and I go 90 and up, 85 to 90, and then they get their bag. And you know, and what's funny is, and not just me being me, I have some seniors say, you know, it's not really fair. The 90-year-olds get to go, and I'm only 75. You know, and they start to, and I always tell them, I encourage them, I say, hey, you hang in there. Your time's coming. Your age bracket will be there.
You'll get to 90 one of these days.
But I mean, there are situations that is a little confusing, but for the most part, it's what that saves them on groceries each week. I mean, is detrimental, because you know, you're making a choice whether you're buying groceries or you're buying medicine sometimes, and that is a big, you know, big. But I just want to revert back to something that Katie had said there. I find it so intriguing that, you know, as they're looking at fundings and getting data and stuff like that, because you're dealing with so many unique situations. Every person is unique. Every situation is unique. It's not same. And for them to pull things together like that and say, hey, we can do it this way and touch this many people. So I learned something there.
Well, I agree with you. Whenever Katie and I speak back at the office about things, it is really important to understand the number, that valuation, versus how many seniors would be qualified to come to the center and participate in various programs. It really is, it seems like such minutia, but it really is so important to figure out age brackets and income and that sort of thing, because they do live on limited income, as we all know, but they still need to be engaged and enlivened and fed. So every single number that you crunch is a value for a senior at a center. So that sounds really great. So I'm going to take a short break here. We'll come back and talk a little bit more about center activity and things, and we'll be right back. So stay with us.
My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. Get free tips to help boost your retirement savings now at aceyourretirement.org/Shiro.
Welcome back to the second half of our program today, the Aging Network. When I say the Aging Network, it really involves not only the Senior Center directors, well, specifically them because they provide the actual programs to the seniors, but it also involves a network of administrative components to make it all happen. So from the state level to the regional director level to the director at the Senior Center. It all comes together to make things happen for a senior in a particular county. So we're going to turn back to what's happening at a senior center. So Gary, give me some other highlights. The photos that you sent us are really lovely. They're people active and engaged, and it looks like a musical band or group. Tell me something about the regularity of the engagement that they have there.
Okay, on a normal week at our senior center, if you say there is a normal week, we start off on Monday, which I already mentioned, the donations. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have local musicians that come in and play. They just come together, bring their instruments, share with the seniors, and they play all the way up through lunch. They'll go to lunch and then maybe a little bit afterwards, whatever. And it's just great to listen to them sing. Now, on Mondays, we also have our own Senior Center choir that come in, and they'll sing and practice and stuff. Tuesdays and Wednesdays we have crafts, which is like in the mornings, which we make all kind of neat things. I mean, we do. It's just a really, really good time. We do that on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and I've already mentioned Tuesdays. Fridays we have bingo every Friday.
And don't mess with bingo.
And
you better
don't
have
mess
it.
with bingo.
No, it's going to be a problem.
It's always a good turnout on Friday mornings for bingo. As far as the outside appearance, opportunities, whatever.
You've got a great center there. Share that.
We've been very, very blessed. We have a walking trail that goes down. It's probably one lap around the walking trail, and that includes the buildings, is a half mile. So we got 2 laps is a mile. We have a lot of seniors that take advantage of that. We also have a shuffleboard that's right out on our front porch. They have the opportunity to take care of that or take advantage of that. We can set up cornhole, different outside games. But our real pride and joy is our miniature golf course.
Yeah, it is pretty awesome.
That was put together during the Grand family when that was a big push because we have so many seniors that are raising their grandchildren.
Yes,
and
thank you for mentioning that.
And it gives an opportunity for them to come, enjoy what the Senior Center has to offer. Their grandkids can go play. The golf course is a 9-hole golf course. It is a regulation 9-hole golf course. It's really, really neat. It's really, we do not charge. From 8 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock, you can get clubs right there at the Senior Center. If you have your own clubs and ball, you can play it anytime. So it's open to the public. There's no charge, and we have an outdoor restroom there. It's waterless, but it's right there beside it.
So you've thought of everything.
Oh, we have groups that come and play on a regular basis and have their own tournaments and stuff. So it's very unique. And I don't know of a lot of other senior centers that has a mini golf course, but
I think you're the only one.
But it's been a real blessing for the county. It really has.
You've brought up so many things that now are popping through my head about grandparents raising their grandkids for a variety of reasons. What a great place for them to bring them and have family time together and bonding time together. Can't beat that with a stick. You've talked about other members of the community. When I'm in charge of social media for the Bureau, and I post a lot of the postings that all of the senior centers put out about their activities or their craftings or whatever. And I often say senior centers are the heart of the community because a lot of things orbit around that and become part of it because of the senior center. So I love that thought of what you just explained. Katie, I know you've had experience with us through the network to be a part of Senior Conference, which we have every spring.
Yeah.
Tell me what you like about that, what's fun about it, why you volunteer, because you really don't have to come, but why do you volunteer?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's I'm on the other side, the administrative side, where I don't really see the seniors enjoying themselves much. And it's a multi-day event where, I mean, it's just so much fun to see them enjoying themselves. And there's activities every hour. You eat lunch with them. It's great to see them in their own atmosphere with friends from different counties. You see, it's kind of like a reunion.
Yeah,
It really is a lot of fun, and I enjoy it every single year.
Yeah, it's been referred to as 4-H camp for seniors.
4-H, yes, that's basically it. Yeah,
There's a lot of learning and doing.
A lot of learning. There's classes, but there's also games, activities.
Right.
There's karaoke. There's trivia. All kinds of activities that I enjoy, and a lot of people, even past AAA directors, go
Yeah.
and still volunteer because it really is a lot of fun.
Yeah, it takes many to lift that boat, but it works out really, really well for those 3 days. And I was thinking about the s'mores and the campfire
Yeah.
that they do on one of the evenings.
Oh,
And
yeah, we do
I've never
campfire.
seen people giggle more than trying to get melted marshmallows in their mouth with chocolate without getting it all over their face.
Oh, yeah.
So they kind of turn into kids. It's really, it's
It
really
is-
great.
really is a lot of fun.
Yeah. I like a lot of what you've said already, Gary, about what not only what you have on the outside, but on the inside. And I will say it's worth mentioning again, the shuffleboard, the golf course, the trail, and a lot of your seniors are avid gardeners. So there's a big patch, I know, near your center to do that.
The floral around our senior center and two or three different places, and we have a real special lady that kind of watches over that, and she does a super job, and it's always just beautiful. In spring, the flowers pop up, and it's really good. Now we have to be cautious because we do have a few individuals that come through and pick flowers for bouquets and stuff for weddings and stuff, so we have to kind of control that. But for the most part, it's very enjoyable, and the seniors just love it. And one thing I want to share also too, our direction is we're trying to figure out a way to incorporate younger seniors, so we use the phrase seniors and up and coming seniors because people under the 60, we try to encourage them to come and be involved because there's opportunities
They can
there.
volunteer even,
Yes,
just
yes,
to start.
very much so. So that gives us an opportunity because I hear and my mom and dad, I love them, and they've passed since then, but my mom and dad was in their 80s, and they would say, when they passed when they was in their 90s, but in their 80s, they'd say, well, if it wasn't for the old people, we'd go up there and hang out. I'm like, Mom, Dad, So it's just funny how that all plays out in time. But I like to see, when you talked about communities getting involved, I'd love to see the younger seniors come in and be part of the senior center.
I think that concept of being a senior sometimes, of course, is skewed in not the most positive light, and people want to stay away from it. I have a friend who is house hunting now in another state, and I've encouraged her to look into the senior available housing there, and she says, I don't want to live with old people, but she's an old person. So I'm like, okay, how do we make this work?
Yep.
So she'll find something soon, but it is that concept, and it's so different. You mentioned too your travel group, and one of the things that always amazes me is how fast, how often the various senior centers around the state schedule trips to go to Gatlinburg or go to Maine or go to Alaska, or our commissioner, Jeff Pack, he keeps saying, do you need chaperones? Because I'll go. And I'm like, I'll go, don't leave me home. But I love that get out and explore part. It's really nice.
Well, and that's one thing as far as the seniors, that is one thing that starts restriction. They don't like to drive at night. They don't like, and when you provide a service like that, they take advantage of it and go do things that, other than that, they just stay home. So that's a big eye-opening for them.
Katie, we know everything has to fit in this frame, especially federal-wise with the Older Americans Act. But when you hear some of the things that Gary has said, especially about nutrition we talk about, but transportation and other elements of the Older Americans Act that he satisfies at his center, and that many of your centers do as well. How does that make you feel? What does that make you think?
Seeing the senior centers thrive is what is really what gives us the ability to kind of focus more on problem solving, and seeing the success with the directors and the administration is really what we look forward to all the time.
Yeah. So
The
Gary,
bottom line is, if it wasn't for them, there wouldn't be us.
Yeah.
well, that is true.
Well, thanks.
And that's kind of how you have to look at it, because it takes your division to manage and develop, and then us to carry out your mission.
Yeah.
So
we issue funding for the activities as well. So we do group client support, we do support services that give the centers the ability to do those activities and the crafts and the games. So it's not so much the priority services like transportation, nutrition. We also provide funding and also other funding to modernize their centers. So we really want to focus more on bringing the younger, under 60, the younger generation, and modernizing the center so they can enjoy it. So it's not so much that stigma of I don't want to go to that senior center, it's for old people. It really is changing, and we're trying to target the programs more towards the younger generation too.
That's marvelous. That's what makes the network work. You know?
Exactly right.
Teamwork, dreamwork, makes the dream work, all of that, all of above. If you could, within reason, both of you, tell me in the few minutes that we have left what you would love to have if you could wave a magic wand and make something, either something that exists better or maybe bring something new. And it has to be brief. So I'll start with you, Katie, and then I'll go to you, Gary. What would you love to see, or what would you like additional help on?
Well,
real quick.
More funding for the federal government and the state government to understand that the seniors have needs too, and that especially in West Virginia, the seniors are not leaving. They're
Right.
staying at home.
Yep.
And that they need help just like any other state. And even though West Virginia is low population, we do have high needs here.
Very good. And you, Gary?
Well, I'd have to say anything that we could do to enrich the lives of our seniors. I mean, and sometimes it's not the material things or the monetary things, it's the relationships. And if there would be a way that we could reach out there and touch people that are not being touched. I mean, we're doing a lot, but we're just scratching the surface of what opportunities are out there if we could just find a way to reach out there to them.
Gotcha. And it is amazing, as many individuals that are served throughout our entire network, throughout the state, there's still so many other seniors who may not be aware or be close enough or whatever, but we are going to continue to work on that.
Yes.
So thank you so much for being here on the program today. I really appreciate the time. I know you both had to travel to be here, but greatly appreciate it. So thank you for sharing your inner thoughts. And thank you for being with us today. We always look forward to spending this 30 minutes with you to inform you of what's happening and how to go about being more involved and participate. So thank you again. And even though you may not see this program until maybe January, I want to wish you a very, very, very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, great holiday. Enjoy your time with your family. Thanks.